Hello, this is Vaughn and Jen. Thanks for joining us in our third trimester video. We're really excited about just getting closer to meeting our little one in the womb, and so we're right in the midst of the third trimester right now, and it's had its ups and downs, which I'm sure if you're pregnant, you're having yours too. We just wanted to kind of go through some of the things that we feel are really important to focus on in the third trimester, and give you some of just our insight into natural ways to help manage those and just get you ready for meeting your baby. So really, just to talk about the third trimester in general, it's a great time to just really treat yourself. The body really starts to go through some dynamic changes. The baby is growing rapidly, so your belly's expanding, and along with that, you're having another surge of hormones to start relaxing the joints. You're getting probably maybe a little more achy than you were in the second trimester, and that's partly just to prepare the body so that when labor is imminent and the baby's going to deliver through the womb and through the pelvis can, really stretch, and the ligaments are able to form and shape to the baby's body so that the baby can come out. So this is just really a good time to rest and take time to treat yourself with, whether it's chiropractic or massage, or just really taking time to make sure you're doing your prenatal exercises. And hopefully you've started that in your second trimester, because just starting a prenatal exercise routine in the midst of your third trimester can really feel daunting. And you're probably low on energy, maybe not up to your usual. So I think this is it's really important to get that routine started in your second trimester, and you just try to stay with it as much as you can through the third trimester, and watch the video we did on pregnancy and exercise for more information on that. But really, getting your body adjusted occasionally from a chiropractor is a great way to keep the joints all in line, because the pelvis, the outlet needs to be a full circle. And so if something's off in the SI joint or the pubic symphysis, that's going to impede the baby coming down the birth canal, quickly and efficiently. And then obviously resting when you need to, getting your legs elevated if you're having additional swelling, or going for a nice just gentle walk. 1 to 2 miles is plenty. You don't have to go trying to break any records or anything, but that's just going to help keep your swelling, your circulation up, keep your blood sugars down. And so those are just some of my personal things that I just wanted to talk about first. Maybe Vaughn has some more practical ideas that he's wanted to share.
Well, I was just going to mention, because I know we're doing the spin babies, and you were going to do like a blog on that, but you just want to mention that's so important in the third trimester to get that baby in the right position, get the baby head down, prepared for birth, and there's things that you can do for that. I think maybe just mentioning that. Yeah,
so absolutely. We talked about that a little bit in the prenatal exercises that we've done in the exercise video, and just a lot of those exercises are going to help keep your body flexible and in a good place for the baby to start descending through the womb and into the birth canal. But there's also a really good resource out there for you for more specific information. It's called Spinning Babies, and it's been just a great resource for a lot of women that I know. My midwives recommend it to a lot of people, and there's a lot of just different things that it's run by a midwife who's been doing this for over 30 years and has had great success with turning babies that have been breech, and turning babies from transverse to head down, and even getting babies that were not correctly aligned even in the birth canal, that were head down, whether they're posterior or whatnot. So that's a great resource for you to check into. We'll probably do a blog on that and give you some more information on that too, specifically.
Yeah, I think the reason I wanted to mention that, because I feel like a lot of times we just kind of have this mindset in our culture that you get pregnant and you go through your daily life and then you have a baby. But really ancient cultures, like they're very intentional about what they ate, how they lived their lives, different exercises and different things they can do to make sure the baby was properly aligned and that the muscles were, healthy and properly toned.
Absolutely.
And that you could get the baby, in the right direction and head down. And in other words, I'm just saying there's a lot of things that we can do.
Yeah.
It's not just about, oh, you get pregnant and whatever happens, happens, and maybe the baby's head down, maybe he's not. I mean, there's really things we can do to ensure a great birth.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of moms mention to me, oh, the doctor's not happy with the way the baby's positioned. We're considering cesarean. And I think that, in times that is absolutely, that can be necessary to get the baby to come out. And that's what we want. We want baby to come out and want baby to be healthy. And, ultimately that's our goal. But there are sometimes some little things that we can do to partner with the process, believe it or not, that can expedite the baby getting into a good position for birth.
Yeah, so there's a couple of issues that come up commonly in the third trimester. We just wanted to mention them. One of them is varicose veins. Hemorrhoids are pretty common. It's really just stagnation, stagnant circulation. So you're in the third trimester, and obviously things are growing and places are getting squeezed and tightened, but it doesn't mean you have to have varicose veins. It doesn't mean you have to have hemorrhoids, but you really have to be intentional about walking, about moving, about fluids. This is the fluid systems of the body. Taking care of the fluid systems of your body is going to prevent preeclampsia. We talked about a little bit about that already in the other second trimester video, but there's a lot of things you can do, and I think diet's one of the most important.
Absolutely.
So big misunderstanding when it comes to diet and what a healthy diet is, and not to get too deep into it, but I really just wanted to stress the importance of hydrating, water-rich foods, lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of hydrating fruits and vegetables. When you start doing a lot of grains and sugars, they're very congesting to the body, and they can cause a lot of issues with kidneys and swelling, which ties into this whole blood pressure, preeclampsia issue, causes stagnant circulation. So you just want to keep your body free-flowing. And we have to understand that grains and sugar can kind of congest the system, be hard on the system, cause swelling, be hard on the kidneys, cause an insulin response. And I think that's confusing to a lot of people because we think, oh, I eat whole grains, or it's whole grain sprouted bread. And, that might be okay for some people, but the majority of people, we're struggling with our health. And we have a lot of these health issues, and we're struggling with swelling or, the varicose veins or whatever. So just know that there's things you can do for that. And there's a product by Wish Garden. It's called Varicosity, and it actually has a blend of herbs to increase circulation. It's got white oak bark, and it's got hawthorn. So look at the Wish Garden line if you want something for your varicose veins. It's called Varicosity. There's a product by Aloe Life, and it's a leg gel, and it's specifically for topical use on the legs, and it helps with that. And I just want to mention what helped Jen with her. She started getting a little varicose vein. Do you want to say what happened with that?
I was really in this third I would just say this third pregnancy in general. We've had a lot of projects on our plate related to spirit of health, and so there were times where I was standing for long periods of time, either in the kitchen doing different recipes or sitting typing up recipes or doing different blogs. And in the past I hadn't really ever had any issues with stagnation in my veins, but all of a sudden I just kind of noticed there was a little vein starting to really kind of get exacerbated, and I feel like it was mostly related to the standing the standing in the kitchen for a prolonged period of time. And so, and that's, sometimes we think, well, I was standing up, that was good, that was exercise. Well, sometimes stagnant standing is honestly sometimes a little bit worse because the blood flow isn't circulating. So that's why walking is so great for circulation. So I did use some of the products that Vaughn just mentioned, and then there's a new product, or not really a product, but it's a therapy tool that Vaughn's bringing into Spirit of Health if you're local in the Kansas City area, and it's called an IMRS machine, and it's great for improving circulation. You can probably tell them more details on that. Yeah,
and we can talk more about that another time, but it's magnetic therapy. It's called intelligent magnetic resonance stimulation, but it basically sends the Earth the same hertz as the Earth's frequencies through the body, and it increases circulation throughout the entire body. And she did that session one time, and she forgot about it. I asked her a couple of days ago how that varicose vein was feeling. She's like, "Oh, it's fine. I totally even forgot about it." So,
yeah, it was actually kind of sore, and kind of I could just tell the area was irritated, and I think I did it once and I noticed such a great difference, and then I've done it a couple times since then, and just to kind of keep on top of it, and it's been really helpful. So
so just to review real quick, if you got varicose veins, elevating your legs, walking, being intentional about movement, water and hydration, hydrating fruits and vegetables, get away from clogging, congesting foods, which is mainly going to be your grains, your complex sugars, and your dairy. If you can stay away from some of those things and focus on fruits, veggies, lean meats, a few nuts and seeds, you can really avoid those types of issues related to preeclampsia and varicose veins.
yeah.
But one of the most important issues we think that's important to talk about in this third trimester is good old stress. It's calming and relaxing the body. I'll never forget one gal that I used to work with. She said, "You have to tell every pregnant woman about magnesium oil. It is like a lifesaver," because she would do the foot soaks in it with the magnesium, which I've talked about a bazillion times in my videos. But you get the magnesium chloride oil by Health and Wisdom, and you soak your feet in it before bed. You get a little plastic foot tub, and you put some warm water in it and a couple ounces of the magnesium oil, and you soak in it before bed. Or you can do a bath. Jen does a bath a lot of times in the magnesium crystals.
Oh, yeah,
and it's
great.
night and day for how she feels. Her body feels relaxed. She sleeps better. It turns off kind of that crazy overactive brain. It's just really important to be in a relaxed state in this third trimester. And stress is such a big deal. And we're so worried about, is everything going to go right? And is the birth going to go right? And this is my first home birth, or, whatever.
Or
And
even
so,
just the life running around you. We have 2 little ones under 4, and we have, we run pretty hard with Spirit of Health. And so I think you can just find yourself getting caught up in all the other details, but we constantly, every night, Vaughn and I have to kind of redirect and, bring ourselves back to a place of, this is like a really important time, and just coming together as a couple, praying over the baby and praying over our bodies, and just really trying to start to inward reflect instead of, focusing on everything externally.
So a couple other physical things you can do for stress, because, we live in physical bodies. Nerves in the nervous system and adrenal responses are real. Definitely stay away from caffeine and things that are stimulants, and you want to calm down and relax. And some ways you can do that is the magnesium oil by Health and Wisdom, the foot baths. You can do Calm, which is like a powdered magnesium. You can do holy basil. It's one of our favorite plants on the planet. Makes you feel very calm, relaxed. It's safe for pregnancy, and women love the way it makes them feel. And then CBD oil, which is the hemp oil, which is very nutritive, feeds, heals, and nourishes the nervous system. Really great for stress and anxiety, and good for pain conditions. And so that's another thing that could, really help in this situation.
I think my most, when I've had days that have just been long and intense, and once we can get the kids down, I think my favorite thing to do is really just, I'll get out our diffuser and I'll put some just relaxing essential oils in there. For me, it could be lavender, sometimes lemon or orange, and start a magnesium bath. And that's just my time to myself at night, and it just really helps to center myself, talk to the baby a little bit, and just really just mentally start preparing myself for, this is really going to happen. This is for real. There's no turning back now. And so it's just a great, this third trimester, I just really would encourage you to take time, whether it's in the morning, if you're a morning person, or night after the kids go to bed, or work something out with your spouse, to just kind of have, your little sanctuary, just to kind of really focus in and get ready. And some of the things that I also like to do during the third trimester is I love reading birth stories. I think birth stories can be really encouraging to getting you ready, because not that you're going to read a story that's going to play out, because every birth is always different.
Sure.
And just like every child's different, every birth experience is different, and we've had drastic different experiences from our first to our second, and I'm sure the third will be even more creative. And so I think it's really important to just be inspired. And one of the books that we've recommended a few times is Ina May Gaskin's Guide to Childbirth. And the first part of that book is like 50 pages of just birth stories. And they all range from, easy to hard to in between. And,
Yes.
and I think it's just great to kind of get a gamut of what could happen, especially if this is your first birth, and just really prepare yourself for the mental part of it, and knowing that, ultimately it usually turns out great. And the baby can come out naturally, and on the rare occurrence do we really need intervention, if you're wanting and hoping for that natural birth, and especially a home birth, which is as in our day and age, it is more of a rare choice, but just to be empowered that you're doing something great for you and the baby.
So let's give you a couple more practicalities for just kind of preparing for this birth in this third trimester. There's a lot of things you can do to strengthen and tone the uterus. They're called uterine tonics. And there's a product by Dr. Christopher. It's called Birth Prep. I'm sure there's other great products out there, but you want to be taking something that has red raspberry and a blend of other herbs to help kind of strengthen and tone and prepare the body for the birth process. Vitamin K. I've heard a lot about vitamin K. We know at the doctor's office they give vitamin K shots, which we don't recommend. We'll talk about that in another video. But you can take alfalfa. So greens in general have high amounts of vitamin K, and that's going to help with the blood clotting. And so vitamin K from alfalfa or other greens, alfalfa is probably the best source, but we recommend women take up to 4,000 milligrams a day of a good alfalfa. We use the one by Pines. It's a very good, pure, clean product. And then there's something else that the body needs to kind of prep for labor, and it's called prostaglandins.
Yeah, they're going to ripen the cervix.
Ripen the cervix, get the body prepared, and there's two really good things you can do to ripen the cervix for birth. One is, because God's a good designer, and the way he designed men and women to interact, sex. Actually having sex, the semen actually ripens the cervix and prepares for the birth process. Again, that's just the cool design of how God designed it to work. And then the other thing you can do is evening primrose oil. Evening primrose oil, you can do 500 milligrams a couple of times a day, and that'll also prepare the body. So those are some good practical tips for some things you can do as well to get prepared.
Yeah. So for the evening primrose oil and for the uterine tonic herbs, you want to start that around 36 weeks. So you don't want to really start that before, and obviously check in with your midwife. They might have a particular brand or a particular dosage and want to have you on their schedule, but those are just some things that we've incorporated into our last few pregnancies.
And the alfalfa, you really want to take the entire third trimester, is usually recommended by most midwives.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then the last thing we wanted to talk about was just preparing your home for the introduction of your baby, and that's really exciting, and getting ready for, especially if you're, whether you're in your home or you're in maybe a birth center or even the hospital. I think a couple things just practically the mom can do is really think through what your birth plan might look like and talk about that specifically with your partner, your spouse. You may not be able to verbalize all the different things that you would want, and so talking through the clothes you might wear, talking through different options that you might have on hand, the food that you want to have in your refrigerator, whether it's your favorite juice of fresh squeezed orange juice or fresh squeezed grapefruit juice.
That was you.
Yeah, that was me.
Pineapple.
Easy access things, and you may not be able to verbalize that, but ahead of time you can have that discussion with your husband, and really plan out a good criteria of like, okay, we're gonna have these foods on hand, we're gonna have this playlist on the iPod. If I want instrumental, this is what I want you to play. If I want something more interactive, or if I want to hear you read scriptures from the Bible for encouragement, this is what I want to hear. And so I think it's just really good to have that kind of plan ahead of time, because like I said, you won't be able to communicate that verbally.
So a couple other things is cleanliness, and that means just like having a nice clean room. If you're going to do a water birth, having clean, purified water. I've been learning through testing, urine testing, finding how toxic people are from actually the tap water that they drink. It's frightening what's in tap water and what can accumulate in the body. And the last thing you want is to have your baby born into tap water and all the toxic things that are in tap water. We have a filter on our shower, and we have an attachment, and we have a hose. So we have a shower filter that takes all the contaminants, including fluoride, out of the water. You can actually buy a non-toxic hose, and so you can have filtered water to fill the birth tank to have a good, clean water birth. You can get air filters to purify the air. We like the ozone machines. That's kind of what we use. The fresh air, the Valera, there's other ones out there, but it's an ozonates the air and it cleans the air. But I think the best thing to do is, our birth is next month, which is March. It's going to be spring. Have the windows open. Have fresh air in the home. Have this nice, clean, fresh environment inside the home, because indoor air can be very stagnant. So keep the room clean, keep the air fresh, keep the water clean, and just do everything you can to ensure a good, clean, healthy birth for the baby.
And if you're doing a home birth, you can even purchase non-toxic hoses on the internet as an option to just your standard, hose from the department store.
Yep.
So hopefully this has been just some good tips and advice for you for your third trimester. You're almost there. You're doing great, and we're excited to meet our little one. As hopefully, and I'm sure many of you who might be following us are as well.
Yep.
So
this is a beautiful process. I mean, this is what God created. This is what He designed. This is what He designed women for. This is what He designed couples for. This is life. It's such an amazing experience. So really want you to embrace it, enjoy it, and it's an honor to God to be a part of it.
That's right. Thanks for watching.
Okay, God bless.